things to council on a regular basis. There's only a couple things that I'll add to that. Is the police department continues to provide additional staff, not only for our normal service calls, but to assist the fire department, to assist as we move into this cleanup phase, along with public works. And the one thing that's going to come up is when are we going to start opening roads? When are we going to start opening roads? Probably the earliest we're going to be able to do that is Tuesday. We're really looking for the water to go down to about 8 feet. But what I'll caution you on is just because the water goes down, it's still going to take us half a day or more to clean the road, to inspect the road, to make sure it's still safe for travel after the water recedes. But we'll get the roads open as quickly as possible, get something out to council as soon as we're able to do that and issue the proper press releases. But again, as we move through this, we're going to start to really move into the cleanup phase. You know, people now have dealt with this for a few days, and I want to assure council that we're prepared for that. We started developing a plan today where we bring in some additional contractors. We have to hire additional temporary employees. You know, there's going to be building permit issues. There's going to be cleanup issues. There's going to be garbage issues. People are going to get into their house. They're going to throw things out.
Mike, could I just say one thing? We're not developing the plan today. We're starting to implement the plan today. The plan is developed.
Yeah,
I
guess,
want to make sure everybody's clear on that.
That's true. We started talking logistically some of the things that we're going to move forward on. And with that, I'll answer any questions that I can of the council members, and if not, I have Dorothy here, the fire department here.
Alderman Sayah?
Yes, one question I had, some of my residents have. You talked about the cleanup phase, and that to them is important. They asked me, what do we do with the stuff? I told them, start putting it out by your street there and have it there. And they wanted to know when it would be picked up, and I said that the plans are being worked on to have that. So are we going to give out some days, eventually say like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the garbage will be picked up, or certain areas will be picked up, so they know what's going on besides their regular day? I think that's the main thing that in my area that they're concerned about, getting rid of the stuff beside backyard flooding, which is my problem, but of course not as bad as this here is.
Sure. Jen, you want to comment on
yeah,
how we're going to
we have a plan with ARC set up where it'll be collection on a regular day. Obviously put everything out. We've issued a press release to put sandbags separate from any flood debris. We will be going most likely 6 days a week. We will supplement ARC's removal with subcontractors that we'll be using. But we've been putting the press releases to put out on the regular garbage day. We'll be picking up then and then keeping up with any backlog that ARC is not able to handle. We're suspending yard waste until further notice, so we'll have additional trucks on for the debris.
One final question. I know that I've had some engineers come in before the board in the areas where I have some issues and some flooding and all that, and they've been working very closely with me on that. Are we eventually, once the smoke is cleared, we're going to sit down and say, here are all the problem areas that we have, and go back and try to address them? Is that going to happen?
We've already started a certain list because issues come up, it seems like, with every flood, and sometimes they're a little different because of the height of the water. We are addressing that as of days ago. Dorothy, we started creating a list a long time ago. If there's something that needs to be tweaked to see if we can make it a little better, we will do that, and we're going to be looking at different improvements in, say, detour routes. And we've talked about that, but by and large, I think with this catastrophe, I think the city has done a fantastic job. Staff has been up countless hours, but to answer your question, Alderman said, yes, we're going to do everything we can, and with the new Mayor Bogus coming in, we're going to try to implement things to make everything as good as possible if this happens again. Well, not yet, but when it happens again.
Well, I got to commend staff too. They have done a fine job, and when we called them, they were there. Everything was working there. We just can't stop when rain keeps falling down. But some of the issues that I was concerned about is that these are reoccurring that I'm having. Nothing new. So that's my only issues that I have.
They will be addressed.
Thank you.
Alderman Robinson.
Thank you very much, Acting Mayor Walser. What is the plan once the river starts to go down to start pumping in Shag Park Lake so it can open up Berry Lane? I've got that underwater. I've had people with medical situations taken out by boat.
Well, John or Al?
Yeah, once we see the level get down where we can actually get equipment in there, we did that the last time in 2008. We have the pump down at Howden River will mobilize that pump to the Shagbark Lake to pump over the barrier between Shagbark Lake and the river to dewater that area. So that should, I expect that to be happening most likely probably late Monday into Tuesday.
Thank you, John. Speaking of pumping, I got a couple of emails of people thanking us for pumping down on River Road. It didn't empty it out, but it brought it down. And you know what? 4 or 5 inches can mean the difference of going in a window well or not. So I'm all for the pumping to continue. Alderman Charles.
Page Ward, Mike Sherwitz. I wondered if we had some manpower today to maybe set up a regular detour for the Monday morning rush, since it looks like some of the roads will be after Tuesday before it helps. There's a lot of people coming from outside the city displays, Schaumburg, Evanston, all trying to get through this area, either to work. I think one suggestion was to have a designated detour route that sends you either to Toohey or to Northwest Highway. Maybe even open up a local businesses are open kind of thing. I know my little world, Oakton Street, could use some traffic for just local businesses, because those businesses are still open up to about Orchard. I don't know where else that exists in the city, but if we can come up with a plan today, kind of implement that for the next couple of months.
And we have already addressed that, and we understand it's critical to actually have people at some of these corners, police and CSOs directing traffic at these critical corners, because I'm telling you, they drive right through the barriers. Dorothy and I know that.
What I've seen is it's a good, we do have a sign, I believe, on Oakton and Wolf Street that detours some of the traffic before it even gets to our area, down Wolf into Toohey for through traffic. I think that could be clearly marked. Right there, it doesn't say that, it just says detour, but it doesn't say that this road is closed.
Absolutely, that's critical
So
to
some of
our
that stuff
plan.
for the Monday, and then once people figure out their route to work and back, then the next couple of days we'll have that much less traffic through the side streets.
Dorothy, did you want to talk? Or Mike?
I was going to say, we were just talking about that, and we're going to have a press release out and talking about, and we'll get that out today sometime, about the detours, and we'll make sure that those are posted in that area, so that people clearly know for the Monday rush hour.
And that'll help too, for the media can get that out too, so people can plan their route to and from work Monday, Tuesday. Thank you.
Alderman Brookman?
Thank you. I have 2 questions. One is, what's the likelihood of us recovering some of our costs from the state or federal government? And also, the second question would be, can you give us an update on the situation with the flood wall closure up in Mount Prospect, and where that situation stands?
Okay, well, the likelihood of us getting reimbursed from the federal government, I certainly hope it's good. I mean, I think we have overwhelming, compelling evidence that we should be reimbursed. But we're actually taking in account for our new accounting system. We've set project codes that every minute of everybody's time is being documented. All of our expenses are being documented, and we'll be submitting that through the proper channels, and hopefully that does happen.
It's 70, what's the percentage?
75%.
75% is what we're looking for from the federal government to recover for the disaster.
Along those same lines, last time we had a big flood, one of the floods we had, we tried to calculate the damage done to individual homes to reach a proper threshold for damage. Is that, do you want residents or aldermen to try to collect data in terms of the amount of damage, so it helps us reach, or is that not necessary?
No, that's where process is already underway in terms of damage assessment. We're doing the initial damage assessment. Once we're able to get into all the homes or get down all of the streets, we'll do a final damage assessment, and we'll apply that value based on our forms and the federal government requires us to do. So we'll take care of that completely in terms of our damage assessment team.
Okay. The other question was about the flood wall being closed. Where does that stand?
Right.
Not the flood, the wall along River Road.
Right, the levee 37 and the gap, correct?
Yes.
Right. What that's going to be is what we've sent some letters off to the IDNR. We had a phone conversation with the IDNR late yesterday. It's their permit. They are the authority having jurisdiction over that area, whether or not it should be filled or can be filled. And they're looking into it right now, and as I understand, they've talked to Mount Prospect, and I'm waiting to hear something back today as to whether they actually have proper authority from anyone to do it. They did not have authority from IDNR to plug that gap. And that's the information that I have today.
And for anybody who really doesn't understand quite what we're dealing with here, there's a flood wall that's probably a mile long, maybe?
600 feet.
Oh, all right. Well,
Yeah.
No, the gap is
Yeah,
600.
600.
Right.
gaps.
The actual wall is about a, right, anyway, it's a wall, okay. So anyway, to have the project completely finished, they had to be somewhere for the overflow water to go, which is called compensatory storage. Well, in building this project, that kind of got put on a back burner, which I've always said you should have started with that first. But anyway, it's been determined there's an area in Wheeling that they're building right now for the overflow storage. But they gave the go-ahead to build a wall with the, there had to be an opening in the gap so you couldn't send all this flood water down to Des Plaines and down communities, because there isn't any place to put the store the overflow of the water. So they were basically told you can't fill that gap, and they sandbagged it, and they did, which meant that instead of flooding in those areas and spreading the flood water out, it all came to Des Plaines. That's the issue at hand with that. So, Jack?
Thank you, Acting Mayor Wallstrom. Medical issues. This water's contaminated. There's people walking in it, people who are touched. Advise them on where they can go get shots, or if they can't get out.
Yeah, we would recommend that. Obviously, people consult with their own physicians. A lot of it will depend on whether or not it was floodwater from the river, or whether it was some sewage backup. But we always recommend that they go out, they get sanitized, they make sure that once the things are working again, they get their clothes washed. And in terms of the medical issues, we definitely would recommend they consult with their physician.
Thank you. I'd like that broadcast to the people.
We can definitely add
So
that to
many children playing in it.
we can add that to our list of frequently asked questions.
Thank you, Chief.
And there's a lot of information on the website, www.desplaines.org, that people can access also. Alderman Hagenberg?
Yes, and one thing that I would like to remind people is that this isn't a tourist event. As you can see from the first ward and what has gone on there, the last thing that my residents need are parades of people coming in to look around while they are trying to deal with losing their entire homes. Big Ben was shown. Those homes were built in the 60s. So at that point in time, they weren't having to deal with this flooding. Now, unfortunately, over the last couple of decades, that has happened as there has been additional building north of us. So the only thing I ask, especially for our residents, including my street, my condo building, please don't feel like you're cruising up and down the streets and talking to people while they're trying to clear everything out. And I'm sure Alderman Robinson will agree with me. They have enough to deal with instead of droves of cars driving up and down, people walking around. So I would just ask for that consideration.
Okay, so obviously it's the first, second, and sixth wards that are along the river that have been hit the hardest. There's several other areas in the city too that were hit. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can call the Emergency Command Center at 847-391-5396. We have people there right now